Since we're already here, let's just take a second and I will play the video for this sketch and go through my sketching process with you. And find the video here. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do, these are textures for 3D. You can make them in here as just like a graphic design and then wrap that around your 3D shape. So I was playing with the dragon apparently on this document first. So excuse me for just a second. So I get a couple references. I start sketching white on black just to play around, and then I get a little bit more into it, playing with shapes a little bit more, figuring out my layout and kind of where I want things to be at. Anytime I look at any of these thumbnails or images, I'm trying to draw something that I get a feeling for from it, right? Not the exact thing. Now you can draw the exact thing. It really depends on what you want, but you don't need to draw each image exactly as the reference. You can play around and do what you want. Here I got into it a bunch, and then I started to do scales and kind of decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. Played a bit with the lighting, see where it was at. Then I got into painting. I painted behind the lines, toned in the fins, painted a color behind the fish to make it stand out. So it was a contrasting color. And I popped over to birds, and I did kind of the same thing with the blue jays, right? I've picked two pictures of birds so I could see it pretty much in the right angles, and then I just sketch it a few times. Don't get stuck on that first one. Try it a few times, see what it happens if you emphasize a part of its anatomy or its character. Try a few things, try them a bunch of times, go fast, just to get the ideas out, right? Everybody, I see so many people just tracing and that's it, which is fine in the right instance when that's what you have to do. But you should also be able to draw, and you should be able to look at a reference of a thing in life and put it on 2D paper. Da Vinci made, I forget what it's called, the grid system, and the mirror, used a mirror, and he did a bunch of things that have taught us that are tricks for us to use to take things from the three-dimensional world and put them on two-dimensional paper. Every tool that's been made since then is just an extra little hack to make you be able to go faster and create more, right? So grab onto that stuff. If there's a tool that you can use to make you able to create more freely, it's definitely worth it. Then I got back into the fish and I started looking at tiger stripes, and I started looking at patterns, and maybe I want to do a geometric pattern, and maybe I want to do a more organic pattern. And I think I kind of went with the organic pattern, and then I duplicated a similar pattern or the same thing even across the background. And then I swapped the colors on top and went back to the tiger stripes so that we have two complete ideas, colored, ready to go, with the lowest amount of impact, right? I took that final that I wanted, represented it 2 or 3 different ways. All of this stuff can be done really, really fast. And in tattooing, we're all happy to take our time and happy to tell people, how much time we take doing things. And that's great in the tattoo process. Take all that time and care to get everything exactly just right. But when you're trying to get your ideas down on paper, at least for me, if you have ADHD or any type of attention issue where it's more important to get the idea down fast so that you can get on to the next idea, you're gonna want to lean into that. You don't want to have to fight that issue all the time. You just want to kind of like lean in, give yourself some grace, let it be a little bit rougher. I'm presenting this to you guys, and of course, it's not super presentable or presented. I'm just wanting to explain to you guys my thought process and my layering process and why you keep things on separate layers and how, you know, you can maintain all the control right up to the end of the project by using non-destructive editing techniques so that you can go back and change colors and change textures and mess with things all the way through so that, you know, in the event a client doesn't like something, you're not stuck to it. And they're not stuck to it. And you can just change it and make a new one, or change it and sell that one to somebody else, or whatever you want to do. What you should not be doing is having problems and struggling with your artwork, right? You should be able to convey an idea, let people know what you're thinking, tell them how you would present it rather fast. You know, this is probably a 45-minute, like the whole painting with the birds and everything was probably less than an hour. So get in there, play around, try to get it down, work in layers so that you can work in big broad strokes, right? I put how I put the orange behind the whole thing, and then did the yellow on the belly, and then worried about making sure that was within the lines. Alpha lock that, paint in the fins so the fins are darker. And jumping back and forth between different layers and making sure stuff is worked out all the way is definitely gonna lead to a more cohesive look and a better ability to present a design without fighting against the tools that you're using. If you try to do everything on one layer, it's just so much easier to get lost and stuck because because you have to go back and paint around every little bit, right? If you do the stripes on the tiger or the markings on the fish and you decide you don't like something, or the orange that they're on is wrong, or you like the color of the stripe but you don't like the color of the fish, that's going to create a huge issue. But if you have everything in separate layers, it's super easy to handle.